Fredericton-South and Leader of his party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, incredibly, this government wants to change the law to enable MB Power to buy electricity from small nuclear reactors because, why? The nuclear option will blow our power rates sky high, and the Electricity Act is designed to prevent that from happening. These high costs are exactly why the nuclear industry rejected small reactors in the first place, because they could not get the economies of scale necessary to make an economic case for nuclear power. 40 years of experience with Point Lepreau has demonstrated that even with those economies of scale, nuclear power is expensive power. Mr. Speaker, MB Power is not an industrial development agency. It's our electrical utility. Why is the minister willing to blow up our power rates to force MB Power customers to pay for this government's poor excuse for industrial development?
Minister of Natural Resources and Energy Development.
Mr. Speaker, you have no idea how happy I am to hear a question of that nature come from the opposition. If the Green Party had their way based on that philosophy, we wouldn't have solar, we wouldn't have wind. If we look into the history of energy development, there was nothing more expensive than solar, nothing more expensive than wind when it came to the first of a kind. This is a situation where we're putting forward an innovative technology, and we're absolutely not forcing the utility to do anything. The legislation that has existed would have prevented the utility from participating. They would have built a unit and not been able to benefit from the power that it generated. That sounds like a business model that only the Green Party could get behind. It makes no sense, Mr. Speaker, and I'll tell you this right now, that lack of business acumen would be very poorly serving the province of New Brunswick if they ever formed an alliance with the Liberals. I can't believe that the opposition, the official opposition, would even be having the conversation about forming an alliance. Heaven help us all if that happens.
The member for Fredericton-South and Leader of his party. Thank you, members.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this government's infatuation with small nuclear power plants reminds me, actually, of the infatuation that Richard Hatfield had for the big ones. You know, he wanted to build 6 nuclear power plants along the border because he thought he could cash in on the forecasted demand for electricity in the U.S., but they were too costly and the market didn't materialize. That reminds me a little bit, Mr. Speaker, of Hatfield's Bricklin plant, an expensive car that had never been built before with no market. That's what we're looking at here, Mr. Speaker, except small nuclear reactors are inherently far more dangerous. New Brunswick's dalliance with nuclear power has already racked up $3.3 billion, according to the Auditor General, that has to be paid down by jacking up our power rates. Why does the Premier want to use the force of the law to blow our power rates sky high to pay for his obsession with small nuclear power plants?
Minister of
To the member
Resources.
opposite to answer the second question, and again, hopefully there's a third, fourth, and fifth. We could do this all day, because I want to stand up and talk about our commitment to creating a clean, green economy that's going to power not only New Brunswick, not only the country, but contribute to the entire global crisis that we're facing right now. Never before has energy futures been so at risk, and the globe is looking at nuclear. This is not a New Brunswick-born idea. This is not something that comes from a premier's office. We are working and actually have ourselves in a position of leading an industry for a change, and the Green Party would have us sit down, forget all of that, and keep New Brunswick in an oppressed state. We won't stand for that. We're going to put New Brunswick first, and we're going to deliver on something where we can not only create energy that is going to benefit New Brunswick, that is non-emitting, but will put revenue back in the pockets of a province that desperately needs it, that gives us an opportunity to stand on our own 2 feet and say that we're generating something, not benefiting.
The member for Shepparton, Lamec, Miscou.
Monsieur le Président, this question is for the DTI Minister. J'aimerais